Hi, I'm Daphne Richards. Our question this week is, what can I plant once winter starts to fade, but before the temperatures are reliably warm? Late winter in Central Texas usually warms up pretty quickly, and summer's right around the corner. But a late season frost often catches us by surprise. The soil temperatures at this time of year are also important. Even if we don't have any more nights below freezing, the temperature of the ground is not warm enough yet to set out any warm season plants. Winter days are often overcast or cloudy, and the sun is low in the sky, so it doesn't heat the soil the way it does in the summer. So even once the days warm up, if you plant summer annuals or perennials too soon, their tender roots stay too cold and wet and the plants rot. But since our soil here in Central Texas never even comes close to freezing, we are lucky enough to be able to plant in the late winter, which is a good thing since we start to warm up and get bitten by spring fever a little earlier than the rest of the nation. Winter annuals like pansies are great for a spot of color in late winter. You may only get a couple of months out of them before it's time to pull them out and replace them, but an entire flat's cheap enough that it's worth it. The same may be said for cool season vegetables and herbs, and there's even more variety to choose from here. Cabbage, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, collards, and Swiss chard should still be easy enough to find in local nurseries. You may not get a crop of vegetables from these plants, but they'll look nice in your garden and get you over the hump until it's time to plant more heat-loving choices. Cool season herbs will last a little longer than cool season vegetables if planted now. Cilantro, dill, fennel, garlic chives, horseradish, and parsley will give you several months of harvest time before they start to peter out. And herbs such as lemon balm and summer savory, which may also be planted now, will even last into the summer. And although they may not give much instant gratification since they're leafless and will remain dormant for a while yet, it's still a great time to plant fruit and nut trees. In fact, if you're planning to put any new trees in the landscape, don't delay. They'll really benefit from the small window of cool weather that we have left ahead before they're forced to deal with the reality of a Texas summer. Our plant this week is Firespike, Odontonema strictum. Very rarely do we get to recommend shade-loving plants since there aren't nearly as many of them to choose from in our plant palette. And even more rarely do we get to recommend ones that are as gorgeous as Firespike. Many of our shade-tolerant plants have small flowers or even none at all. But Firespike, with its red late-season blooms, is a real gem. Even when it's not in flower, the glossy green leaves are a sight to behold. Firespike's cold tender, so now's not the time to plant it. But it's such a nice choice for shady gardens, I wanted to mention it now so you'd have plenty of time to find it. Since it's frost sensitive, you may lose it during the winter and treat it as an annual. But if planted in a protected area or in a container, it'll be evergreen and get up to 4 feet tall. As with most shade plants, Firespike likes a little extra water in the heat of summer, and just a little boost of fertilizer in late summer will help produce larger, taller flower spikes. To do in your garden this week, it's time to start preparing your garden beds so you'll be ready to plant those tomatoes and peppers in early April. Add compost and manure now so they'll have time to break down in the soil before planting time. We'd love to hear from you, so please visit klru.org/ctg to send us your questions or plants of the week from your garden.